Hello, welcome on in. It's time to once again make another ranking video of every single 21 Pilots song. I made this video a few months ago and I went back and watched it recently and I thought I disagreed with a few points, and now we have the release of Breach, the latest full-length album, as well as Dragpath, a little bonus song. So we have now got more stuff to rank and talk about, so I thought, good time to remake that video and give my updated thoughts. I've got actual notes on every single song this time, so I'm not just going off the top of my head, which should be generally a more engaging experience for a watcher. So yeah, we got the tier list here on Tier Maker. Oh, and also I added music this time, so hopefully it's not as dull of a watch. But yeah, we got every single song. We're only going to be doing the studio albums and singles, as well as regional at best. I haven't heard Tyler Joseph's solo album and all of these live versions. Well, I've heard the live versions, but I'm not going to be talking about them today. We're just going to be talking about self-titled, regional at best, Vessel, Blurryface, Trench, Scared and Icy, Clancy, Breach, and all of the singles that are on Spotify. Okay. I don't think I really have to explain what a tier list is, but I'm going to be going from every song in chronological order, giving my thoughts, what I think about the song, and I'm going to be placing it in a ranking from S tier to F tier, S tier being the best, F tier being the worst. But like I said last time, F tier doesn't mean that I absolutely hate it. It's, for me, probably just a song that I just generally dislike. I don't think I hate any 21 Pilots song. So even if I put a song in E or D tier, I probably enjoy it. I probably still listen to it. It just means that there's a lot better tracks from the band. Alright, I think we can start with all of that out of the way. This might be a bit of a long one, but I'm going to try and get it done as quick as I can. Right, let's start with self-titled. Implicit Demand for Proof, the first song from their first album. I think it's a very strong opener. It's a really gorgeous way to start off this album. The piano is gorgeous, matched with some great drumming, and yeah, it's a powerful track sonically and lyrically. The climax is fantastic. The whole structuring of the song is engaging. It's interesting. It's a very, interesting start to an album. That shows off 21 Pilots' uniqueness right off the bat. It shows off their strengths in the interesting instrumentation, Tyler's unique vocals. It does it all very well. The only real issue with this song is that the mixing, the production is pretty poor quality, as you'd expect from their early music. They probably didn't have access to all this high quality stuff, so you can't really blame them for it, but it does bring the song down marginally while you're listening to it, with the quality being pretty poor. If I had to rank it, I think it would be B tier. That feels about right for me. Alright, Fall Away, the second song. I have in my notes that the whiny vocals in the song aren't great. The la-da-da-da-das, they sound a bit outdated, a little bit cheesy. But there is interesting instrumentals. You got the piano, the slappy drums, the synths. So the instrumentation is pretty peak. The rapping, though, I think is kind of meh. I think Tyler's been a lot better on the rap verses, but it's not terrible. The song itself generally doesn't do a whole lot. Personally, I don't really care for it a whole lot. But I still think it's a decent song. It's got some interesting moments for sure. I think, to be honest, I'm going to put this one in D tier. Alright, the Pantaloon. Again, I don't really connect with this song a whole lot. I think the vocals are kind of boring. The structuring is, fairly uninteresting for the band's early work sake anyway. It's not a very memorable song, but I do enjoy the lyrics and the delivery overall. The performances and the execution of the song are solid. I don't really care for the song itself and its writing, but the actual execution of the song is fairly commendable. So I think I'd put it in D tier as well, maybe E tier, we'll see. I might move things around a little bit as we go. Addict with a Pen. This song takes a bit of a while to get going, but when it does get going, it gets pretty cool. The instrumental is intriguing, but again, it doesn't really do much, but honestly, it could just be the production is kind of lackluster. I do like the rap verse in this song. Overall, it's kind of one note, but the vocals are very passionate, so there's a lot of good and a lot of meh. So, you know, it kind of evens it out. I think that this is probably a C tier song. Fret and Please, this is the first one that I think is truly amazing. I think it's a very impactful song, very meaningful lyrics. It's got catchy synth breakdown, limited by the outdated production, though I did note down. Again, not their fault, obviously, but, you know, in these earlier tracks, the production does kind of bring down the overall impact a bit, with it just being pretty poor. Yeah, the outro is really nice with just the piano. So, yeah, like I said, a very impactful song, very personal song to a lot of people. I think that outside of the production, I don't really have many criticisms to give. I think that it's a top-notch song, one of the best from Tyler's early work, you could say. I think it's A tier. March to the Sea. Yeah, it's a kind of forgettable song for me again. It's not got a very appealing song structure. It does eventually build, but it's not impactful enough to make me want to return to it in any way. I also noted that the song feels a bit too long. It kind of drags a bit. But I will say the passion in the shouty vocals towards the end of the song does improve the overall experience. So, you know, you can really hear the passion in Tyler's energy throughout this whole album, which does make it a better experience. But again, I think in terms of writing, there's not really anything I can, you know, love about it. So I'm going to put it in E tier. Again, though, that doesn't mean I dislike the song. It just means I don't really care for it in many aspects. Johnny Boy. Alright, we've got another catchy one. The upbeat energy grew on me quite a bit. I think for a while, I didn't really like this song much. I thought it was kind of annoying, but, you know, over time, I've learned to accept it for what it is, and I enjoy it quite a bit. The pre-chorus with the soaring vocals is great, and the breakdown grabs my attention, but I do think the climax is a little bit underwhelming. It's not very hype, as I wrote. So yeah, it's one that's grown on me for sure, but I also still think that it's probably a D tier song. Fall Away, get out of the way. It's above Fall Away, right on the edge of C and D, probably. But I think D is where it belongs. Oh Miss Believer, a controversial one for sure among pretty much everybody in the whole fan base. Me personally, I'm on the side of people that don't really care for this song. The bells are pretty cheesy, the song drags on quite a bit, it's slow, it doesn't really offer a whole lot in terms of interesting instrumentals or vocals or anything like that. So for me personally, it's a pretty easy skip. I think it's an E tier song again. But yeah, I don't think anything so far has been F tier worthy, for sure. Okay, Aircatcher. I almost said Almost Believer again. Aircatcher is an absolute banger. I think this is probably my favourite song off of Self-Titled. The piano intro that leads to explosive drums is epic, as I wrote. I love the lyrics in this song. The drums have a lot of personality. The chorus is great. The auto-tune bridge is a little bit odd, I will admit. It's a little bit like, I don't know why they chose to do this, but me personally, I'm not too bothered by it. I know a lot of people do dislike the song primarily because of that bridge, but I don't really dislike it. I think it's weird, but, you know, I don't dislike it. The group vocals to close the song from the whole band before Josh was there is quite pleasant as well, so I think this is definitely an A tier song. On a good day, I'd probably give it S tier, but realistically, they have much better content, so A tier is probably the best place for it. Trapdoor. Alright, again, the piano and the drums in this song are a great combination. you know, as much as Josh gets credit for being a fantastic drummer, the drummer that they had, I can't remember his name, before Josh was in the band, did a great job on Self-Titled and parts of Regional at Best as well. But yeah, the guitar work is especially expressive in this song as well. Top vocals from Tyler. The song is generally outdated again, but I love the lyrics. The instrumental breakdown is really cool in how it builds into the scream. Vanish this way, stuff. But the piano and the vocals outro after that is fine. You know, it's nothing too special emotional wise, but I think it's really nice all the same. I think this is probably right on the edge of A and B, so I'll put it in B tier, but it could very well be A tier as well. Akara Tortured Death. It's kind of similar to Oh Misbeliever, how it's slow and it drags and it doesn't really go anywhere, and it also has the ringing and the chirping as well, which everybody always points out, and I think it is pretty irritating. I wish that it wasn't on the song. I kind of get why they did it. It makes sense in the context of the song, but I don't enjoy it. But I will say the heartfelt lyrics and vocals does improve the song. So again, I don't think it's worth putting it in F tier, but I think it's the closest to F tier that we've had so far. In fact, I think I will put it in F tier. I don't think I can put it next to March to the Sea and Oh Misbeliever, because those songs don't really get on my nerves very much, but Akara Tortured Death is kind of, you know, a lot of times I will say, I can't listen to this, I'm not in the mood. Taxi Cab. I remember a few months ago when I did this video, I kind of dug into Taxi Cab a bit, and I said that it didn't really impact me in any way. But it grew on me a lot ever since then. I've started to appreciate the song more. I've given it more attention. And yeah, it grew on me. The passionate vocals with just the piano for a while is gorgeous. The rap verse is pretty good. It does feel a little bit out of place though in the song, but it's generally not my favorite rap verse. But, you know, it's a nice song. It's a really nice song. I get why it's beloved by a lot of people. Yeah, I still don't think it's a crazy good song by any means, but it's definitely grown on me, so I don't know, I think it can go in D tier. I think I'd probably put it in E tier or F tier, probably E tier last time, but I think it's a solid D tier song now. Again, some people are going to tell me that's way too low, and I get it, but personally, that's just where it sits for me. Before You Start Your Day. A largely inoffensive song, but let's be honest, it doesn't really do a whole lot. It's got a pretty piano, it is a pretty piano ballad, and it builds in a somewhat captivating way, but yeah, ultimately doesn't really go anywhere. It's got the open the slits in your face line, which is interesting. I don't know what Tyler was thinking when he wrote that, but a lot of people think that's quite an uncomfortable lyric. I just think it's pretty funny. So I think it's another E tier song, but again, it's nothing really offensive about it. It just doesn't really do anything. Isle of Flightless Birds, the final song on Self-Titled. It does, in my opinion, take quite a long time to actually get going, maybe too long to start, but it's got a funky instrumental. I'm not too keen on the chorus, but the vocals complement the instrumental well. It's probably my favorite rap verse on the whole album in the song, despite questionable lyrics. But yeah, I'd say it closes the album with a sorrowful piano, which is pleasant. It fits the atmosphere of the album, and yeah, I enjoy the way that it closes off quite a lot. I think I'd put it in probably C tier. I think it's quite on par with Addict with a Pen. Alright, let's go on to Regional at Best. There are a few songs here that I think are pretty much the same as they are on Vessel. I think Guns to Hands and Holding On to You are basically the same, so I'm not going to rank those. Oh to Sleep is different though on Regional at Best. The drums don't hit anywhere near as hard, but other than that, it is quite similar to the remastered version, just less fleshed out, if you will. But again, still very solid in its vocals and its energy. It's a very fun song. I think it works better as an opener to Vessel. But I think it's alright. I think I'd put it in E tier, to be honest. Or actually, no, I think D tier. But, you know, I'm sure I'll glaze the Vessel version quite a bit more. Slowtown. A lot of people love Slowtown. I don't love it, but I also get it. I think the jingle in the instrumental is a little bit silly. The song feels... It really does feel like an amateur song. Like, how do I put it? It feels like a song that you would make when you're just starting out making music. But it is admittedly pretty catchy. And it's got a really fun chorus. It makes me want to dance, which is something. The rap verse is kind of unnecessary, in my opinion, in this song. But yeah, I can kind of look past it. The shouting during "Going Too Fast, Fast, Save Us" is pretty sick, though. I think that's about all I really have for Slowtown. C or D for sure. Probably C, but I could also very well see it going in D tier. Car Radio, regional at best version. It's basically just inferior in every way. You know, the vocals are a lot worse, the drums are a lot less polished, but otherwise, it is, again, quite similar to the remastered version, with a bunch of these regional best songs that were remastered on Vessel. Not a whole lot was changed in terms of the structuring and whatnot. So, you know, I kind of want to save what I want to say for the Vessel versions, more so than the regional best. Just point out the differences on this song. You know, the crash cymbals during the breakdown are kind of unnecessary, I wrote, and the piano outro that they had in this is completely unnecessary. I'm glad that they got rid of it in the Vessel version. So, yeah, I think it's an E tier song. Forest. It's a weirdly enticing song. I'll give it that, but at the same time, it is pretty forgettable. The pre-chorus and the verses are fun. I think the chorus is probably the weakest part of the song. I think it's pretty underwhelming. It's a charming song, for sure, but I can't be too kind to the song. I think it's probably a D tier song. Glowing Eyes. This one is a song that I'm really glad that the UK get on Vessel, because I think that it's a really, really nice song. For some reason, it's oddly catchy. Ignoring the outdated chanting in the song, which, you know, is what it is. It's a product of its time. I think it's got a really fun chorus, enhanced by the vocal deliveries from Tyler. This Room is Far Too Dark Bridge isn't great. I think it's mostly the chorus that I just love about this song. I think that they did a really good job putting together the chorus and making it really catchy, really fun. So, you know, it improves the song a lot. So, C tier. Kitchen Sink. It's a slow burner song, I will say, but once it gets going, it's a very strong track. It's got great rapping from Tyler, a gorgeous chorus, especially the Leave Me Alone part, where he goes pretty high. Leave me alone. I shouldn't even have tried to do that, but it's gorgeous. It feels empowering, but it feels vulnerable, which is really pleasant. And then it goes to Don't Leave Me Alone, which is a lot more powerful and impactful. I think it's great. The only thing I don't really care for is Zach's verse. I don't like Zach's verse in the song. But again, it's not like offensively bad or anything. I just think it could have been left out, or Tyler could have done it instead. Probably a B tier song. I think it's probably worthy of B tier. Anathema. This is one that I've not really listened to a whole lot, but you know, I still think it's a weirdly motivating song. Again, it's another slow burner for a bit, but once it gets going to the pre-chorus, you won't go to someone else's dreams kind of part, it grabs my attention much more. The instrumental synthy build-up is very cool. The breakdown is kind of underwhelming to me personally. It closes the song with a rap verse, which I don't think suits it at all. It's kind of weird. It's very abrupt how it just kind of ends with that rap verse. I feel like maybe they could have moved it earlier in the song, or worked the structuring of the song around differently to fit that in somewhere else. But to close the song with it as the climax, I don't know. I don't like it. It feels a little bit awkward. Yeah, I think it's another D tier song. Yeah, I think it's gonna stay D tier. Lovely regional at best. The once again iffy production does spoil the song quite a bit, and again the vocals are very inferior to the remastered version. The auto-tune in the chorus is very questionable, but it's not horrible. It's not, it doesn't feel awkward, I guess, is the best way to put it. But other than that, it is, again, basically the remastered version. I think if we're going to be honest, I'd probably put it in E tier, just because, everything about the remastered version does it so much better. So, maybe there's a little bit of bias. Maybe it should be in D tier, but I think at the moment it's going to stay in E. Ruby. This is a very unique song for early 21 Pilots, in my opinion. It's got a very flavorful instrumental, but that being said, it doesn't really grab my attention a whole lot. I will say that the song being dedicated to a girl that Tyler knew from, I think, his church, who has Down syndrome, the way that it's dedicated to her is incredibly sweet, and it definitely adds impact to the song, knowing the context. And the screams of "You're an Angel" are really cool. So, yeah, I think it's a really pleasant song. Debating between C and D. I think just with the context, probably C tier. I think it's going to be high D tier though. Again, it doesn't really captivate me a whole lot. It's mostly the sentimental value and Tyler's passion emotion that make the song enjoyable. But yeah, it's not one that I'd probably return to a whole lot. So I think D tier is valid. Trees, regional at best. The only thing I wrote in my notes is auto-tune, which is quite funny. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people despise this song. They think it's the worst 21 Pilots song. And I totally understand why. The auto-tune is not good in this song. It's a very odd choice that doesn't sound very appealing at all. That's kind of the only difference from the remastered version. But other than you can't really give it bonus points for being trees when the auto-tune is so laughable. I think I'm going to put it in F tier, but I don't think I hate it as much as a lot of other people. It's just like, why did they do this? Doesn't work. Be Concerned. This song to me is very forgettable. I'm not a fan of the rap feature. Tyler's fine on this song, but it's a very one-note song. I just don't really care for it. I don't really have anything else to say. I just want to move on from this. Yeah, I think I'm going to put it in F tier as well, next to Trees. Obviously above Trees. But yeah. Clear. This song kind of slaps. I will admit that I forgot the song pretty quickly. Like, it's hard for me to even picture the song in my head right now. But, when I go back and listen to it, I'm like, oh yeah, this song does kind of slap. The cadence during the rapping is a little bit iffy. But the delivery of the vocals in the chorus is confident, it's fun. I can definitely appreciate it while it's on, but, afterwards, I move on pretty quickly. So I think it's probably a D tier song. 2. Oh yeah, House of Gold's here. I don't think House of Gold's different, so move on from that as well. But yeah, 2. This is such a weird song. It's a very strange song in their discography. A lot of people are made uncomfortable by the song, and I get why, but I think that it's unnerving in a really great way. I think it's a really cool song with a very dark atmosphere, brooding vocals, and a very interesting production to it. When the drums kick in, it totally feels like it belongs in a cool horror movie or game soundtrack. I love it a lot, to be honest. Despite being a strange one for the band, I just think the atmosphere and the way that the song builds is really interesting. So I honestly think it belongs in a B tier for me, which I'm sure is going to surprise a lot of people. But I don't know, something about the song really does like intrigue me. Screen again is pretty much the same, so we're gonna move on from that one and move on to Vessel. Ode to Sleep. Obviously talked about the regional best version. I'd say that this is a menacing opener to the album. I think it's a great song. First of all, the drums go hard as hell. The synths go really hard. The rap verse is fine. You know, it's not my favorite rap verse. The second rap verse though is fire. I think the second rap verse is a lot more fun. I mentioned in my notes that the up to the ceiling part is a lot of fun. One that sticks with me a whole lot. The cheerful sounding chorus is a bit of a vibe change, but you know the switch up is pretty solid. It feels like it does so much within the 5-minute runtime, but it stays consistent, which is always a good thing, and it's got a very pleasant ending. So honestly, A tier. It's a big jump up from D tier from original at best, but I think that Ode to Sleep just does so much and does it really well in the remastered version. So I appreciate it a whole lot more. Holding On to You. Iconic song. Absolutely iconic. It's super fun to sing along to. The drums, they're pretty simple, but they are effective. It's got a great chorus. The Entertain My Faith part is gorgeous, intense. The song itself, I will admit, is not incredibly impressive, but, you know, as a fan of the band, it's one that I think connects with people a lot. And me personally, I really enjoy it as well, because it's just such an iconic song for the band, I suppose. Again, A tier. Migraine. I think this song has very strong writing on all fronts. Again, a very fun one to sing along to. Something about Vessel's writing in its lyrics and its performance from Tyler is just so engaging to me. And, you know, the lyrics in most of these songs are really fun. The flow of the song is great. They added little moments in the production and the song to keep it flavorful, which is really nice. I think it's a very underrated song in the discography, and I think it's performed really well. I think in Vessel, I think it's absolutely one that goes under the radar a little bit too much, but I love when it comes on. I think it's a fantastic song, and I'm going to put it in S tier, the first S tier of the ranking. House of Gold. Now I know the ukulele is controversial, but I don't hate it for that reason. I am personally not very keen on the song, I will admit, but it is a very pretty song, sonically and lyrically. It's a very touching track. A little bit too repetitive and simple for my liking is kind of what puts me off this song. The second part does get me though. It becomes a very fun experience near the end of the song. When everything builds up and releases the way that it does, you know, I get into it. I groove with it. You know, it's solid. I think it's probably a D tier song for me personally. I think the sentiment definitely helps improve the song. It could be an E tier song on a bad day for sure, but I'm gonna leave it in D tier for now and move on to Car Radio. It's a slow burner song. It takes a while to get going, but that I think works well in this example. The piano with the rapping is effective. Again, it's a very fun one to sing along to. The breakdown of this song is fucking awesome, especially live. The screams are fantastic, and I like how it tones the intensity down towards the end. It works well with the song. So yeah, again, the writing of the song is great. The performances are great. I can't really say that there's a whole lot wrong with this song. I think it's another A-tier song. Semi-Automatic. This is another one that I think is underrated. Something about this song just rubs me the right way. I don't really know why. It's a catchy song. It's playful. There's nothing really too exciting about the song, but I think it's just a really well-written song. The rap verse is a whole lot of fun, again. The way the chorus becomes frantic is really hype, and the piano bridge is very nice. That's pretty much all I got to say. I don't know. That's just something I really like about this song. I think I am going to stick it in B tier because I don't think it has as much of an impact as these other songs above it. But it's a really fun one that I love to come back to, especially if I'm looking for more exciting songs from their discography. Screen. Outside of the rap verse, I don't really care much for Screen. It's a nice song, for sure. I like the ukulele and the sentiment of the song. It's a very pretty song. The We're Broken People chant is probably the best part of the song. And I like how it sounds like the band is kind of singing along to their fans, like a crowd. So with all those elements, it is a very pretty song. But I think just sonically, it doesn't really interest me a whole lot. So I think it's probably a C tier song. Maybe next to House of Gold. Let me think about it. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in D tier next to House of Gold. But again, it's not because I think there's necessarily a whole lot wrong with it. This one just doesn't really engage me very much. The Run and Go. This song is very punchy, but it's also outdated and kind of goofy sounding. But for that reason, it does have a bit of a charm to it. It's kind of forgettable, really, but it's easy to see why people don't really care for this song, to be honest. I do think that, again, it's got its charm. It's upbeat, despite the lyrics being like, I killed a man. But it's gonna go in E tier. What did I just do? Oh, oops. Fake You Out. This is another, surprise banger on the album that I don't think people talk about enough. It's a very catchy song. The chorus makes me want to move. The production, again, is kind of outdated, but the song itself is largely inoffensive. The vocal delivery in the pre-chorus is fun. The closest star part. And the rap verse, not the best. I think it's kind of meh. But still, I think it's a very fun song that doesn't get talked about enough. I think it's a C tier song. Guns for Hands. Again, a pretty iconic song. It's an easy one to connect with. Obviously, it's about Tyler expressing his concerns for his fan base. It's a very personal song. The drums hit hard. The desperate screams are great. I don't care much for the rap verse again. These rap verses in Vessel are kind of hit or miss. But for the live shows, it's a very iconic song. It's a very important song. So I appreciate it a lot for those reasons. So I think again it's on the edge of B and C. I think I'm gonna keep it in C next to Fake You Out personally. But again, I totally understand why people would love this one. Trees. Vessel version. I absolutely understand why this is like the 21 Pilots song. The quintessential 21 Pilots song, because it's the last song they always play. It's the first song Tyler Joseph ever wrote. And it doesn't have the auto-tune. So, that's that. I think personally it's most enjoyable with the live shows in the context of being there in that room as they perform this really passionate outro to a concert, to close it all off with the confetti and the drum stands and everything. It's awesome when they do that. But if I'm actually just sat here listening to the song, I don't think I really connect with it as much. It's a very impressive display of songwriting. You know, for a first song, it's incredibly impressive. It's very passionate. The breakdown is pretty hype, I will say. It's overall a pretty repetitive song, but the energy carries it through. So, sorry for the ASMR. I think I gotta give it C tier. Truce. This is another incredibly gorgeous closer to an album. It speaks directly to the heart. It's short, but it's sweet. It's straight to the point. It's a simple piano ballad, but it's very effective in the way that it's sung by Tyler. The ooh-woos are really pretty. The emotion in Tyler's voice is evident. It's a very lovely track that again is speaking directly to the listener, you know, begging you to stay alive. Things don't always work out, but it can always get better. You know, a lovely sentiment and all that. So it's definitely grown on me. Before I wouldn't really go out of my way to listen to this song, but yeah, I think I have a newfound connection to it, especially with the release of Breach. I think it's going to be at the top of C tier. Again, this is one that could very well be in B tier. I'm just thinking ahead to other tracks that have more of an impact. Lovely. Another one that is a UK exclusive song on streaming. This one feels like it should be more impactful than it actually is. It's a very flavorful song. It's positive in its messaging all around, and the sound is performed much better than the regional best version. But I just think the chorus is a little too silly in nature. The second verse is nice. The explosive climax is probably the best because of the way Tyler screams. But overall, I'm not too into this song. I think it's probably a D tier song next to Screen. Alright, let's move on to Blurryface. They are their biggest, most impactful album, the one that really blew them into the spotlight. Not much needs to be said about Blurryface. Heavy Dirty Soul is definitely one of my favorite drum beats from Josh. One of my favorite songs on the album as well. I think the rap flow is a very challenging one for sure, but it's performed really well. Like the flow, it's so fast. It's impressive as hell. It's got really nice layered vocals in the chorus. I love the lyricism. The atmosphere is really great. There's nothing corny about this song, which is something that does stand out in some of the other Blurryface songs. This song genuinely feels like it's aged really well. It's a brilliant opener, and it's an S tier song. Stressed Out. Okay, we got the most iconic song from the band. A clean, radio-friendly track. It's easy to see why it's their biggest song, for sure. Personally, I don't think it's overplayed. Maybe it was back in the day, but nowadays you don't really hear it very much unless you go out your way to listen to it. There's obviously nothing very exciting about the song sonically. It's got a very simple structure. The vocals are nothing special. And again, the drumming is also something simple. It's one of the first songs that I ever learned to drum to, because it is so simple. But it's still a solid song. Very middle of the road song, I'd say. So I think that it's probably C or D, probably a C tier song. Ride. This is a very catchy song. I love the screams near the end of the song. I think it sounds fantastic. I love the I've been thinking too much parts. It's got a solid rap verse and very solid production. But the other aspects I'm not really too big on. I'm not a fan of the what is it in the chorus? Where it goes like ooh ooh ooh. How does it actually sound? I've got the notes. Whatever, I'm thinking about it too much. But you know what parts I mean. It's a fine song. I think it's slightly overrated. Again, it's one of their big hits, and I don't necessarily know why it's nearly as big as Heathens now, but it is pretty easy to see why it did so well. Again, it's a song that sounds like it should be a mainstream hit, so I think it goes next to Stressed Out. Fairly local. It's got a really hype instrumental. I like Tyler's delivery in the verses and the chorus. The pre-chorus rap does kind of suck, in my opinion, just straight up. Even though it did give us FPE, the Few, the Proud, the Emotional. I don't really care for the rap verse, pre-chorus even. The overall structure of the song is pretty simple, and I think it lacks kind of sauciness in the production and whatnot. But overall, it's a solid song. You know, I don't really dislike the song. I think, again, it's another C-tier song. Tear in My Heart is next. Tear in My Heart, I think, is repetitive. It's an upbeat love track. Pretty lackluster lyricism. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to a general listener. I do really like the bridge. You fell asleep in my... I think it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy the way that it builds, especially when Tyler starts to get more intense in his vocals. The instrumental isn't as cool as I think it wants to be, I will say, and it feels like it's over pretty quickly. So it doesn't have much impact, and obviously it's a cheesy love song. But, you know, I do think it has its highlights for sure, but I think it's going to be in D tier. Lane Boy. I mentioned in my previous video that I was devastated that they took it off the live set list, because live is such a hype song. I think it's a fucking amazing song for a live environment, because specifically the breakdown is just so hype. I did see them perform it in 2022 during the Takeover tour, so there was that, but they left it off the Clancy World tour. And then they brought it back for the Breach tour, so I'm pissed. But hey, I did see it once, so there's that. Anyway, the song itself is a very fun song. It's got a super hype breakdown, like I said. It's a confident, smooth song. Tyler's flow is great. The lyrics are kind of questionable, but they're still really fun to sing along to. I love the electronic bass. I love the punchy drums. I think it all does the job really well. The chorus does get a little bit repetitive by the end of the song. It's repeated quite a lot, obviously, but for the most part, I don't really have any complaints. I also think that the cool outro with the drumming, the cool drum outro, is cool. I didn't read that right. The outro with the drums is cool, but I don't think it adds a lot. I don't think it's particularly necessary. It's just kind of like a, oh, that was fun way to end off the song. But yeah, I think it's an A-tier song. This background music, The Judge is next. The Judge is a very pleasant song. The Clancy World Tour definitely made me appreciate it more, with like the fan interaction. I like the production on the song. The bridge is really cool with Josh going hard on the drums. The tempo switch up afterwards adds some spice to the song. The build up and final chorus is fun with the layered vocals and the na-na-na-nas. It's grown on me a lot for sure. You know, before I probably would put it in D tier, maybe even E tier, but at this point, it's a B or C tier. I think probably at the top of C tier, because I still don't really connect with the song just as a general listening experience, but it's still a very pleasant one that I think is on par with a lot of these other songs. Doubt. I definitely really enjoy the atmosphere in Doubt. The trap beat is pretty cool, but overall, it's kind of lackluster, I will say. Tyler's vocals aren't even close to being the best on the album, and the auto-tune, you know, it's not as prominent as the demo version, but it still doesn't really help with the vocals. It's definitely a product of its time, and doesn't really hold up to today's sound. And the beat drop, I think, after the bridge is pretty underwhelming as well. So there's some parts of this song that I think are pretty underwhelming, so I think it's probably D tier song. Polarize. another product of its time. I don't think this song is as corny as some people would say that it is, but I will say the creative choices are pretty odd throughout the song. I do like the "I wanted to be a better brother, better son" part, and the bridge where Tyler screams, love it. But otherwise, I don't enjoy the song a whole lot. It does feel slightly dull overall. Yeah, I don't particularly know what it is about the song that makes it lackluster, but yeah, the writing could be better. I think it's another D-tier song. We Don't Believe What's on TV. This is a fun song, it's a charming song, singing along to it is fun and enjoyable. It's a pretty one-note song though that doesn't really go anywhere or do anything exciting for the band's standards, but it just kind of feels like a good song. I mean, it's a feel-good song, is what I wrote. It gets the job done, you know, it serves its purpose, it's a solid song. I think I probably like it more than these other songs because there's nothing particularly that I think stands out as something I don't enjoy, but it doesn't really have much impact, so I think C tier is a valid placement. Message Man. I think this song's pretty forgettable, to be honest, but it is at the same time pretty hype. The punchy instrumental and the brooding vocals is basically exactly how I think of the Blurryface album. When I think of Blurryface, that is exactly the sound that I would think. I think some of the vocal chants in the song are pretty outdated, but, you know, I think they fit the song for sure. So there's that. The rap in the bridge, I think is sick. I really like the rap verse. Not verse, the bridge. It's definitely not a great song. I mean, I don't think a lot of people are gonna argue with that. You know, in terms of their discography, it doesn't stand out. But I think it's a solid song. So, C tier. Definitely one where the instrumental is more of a highlight. Hometown. Very outdated sound. I mean, I don't know, a lot of people will fight for this song, but I don't know, I think the chorus is kind of boring. It doesn't really do much. There's no highlights from either boys. Personally, it's an easy skip. There's not really anything I can say I really enjoy about the song. I guess, you know, the sentimental value when they play the shows in Ohio, that kind of thing, is nice. It's nice and all. It's not bad, but it's an E-tier song. Not Today. I always used to love the lyrics of Not Today. When I was like 10 years old and I heard this album for the first time, I thought that Not Today's lyrics were really fun. So it's quite a nostalgic one to me. I do think now that they are very silly, but maybe that's probably what appealed to me when I was a little kid. Admittedly, it's a pretty weak song from the band. Again, much like these lower songs, Tear My Heart Out, Polarize, there's not really a whole lot to offer from the song. But I do still get a lot of enjoyment out of it, at least until the instrumental part kicks in, and then I don't really care much. Tyler's vocal delivery is kind of fun. The attitude of the song is pretty enticing. The ba-ba-bas near the end of the song, I think, are kind of annoying. I don't enjoy that part of the song, so, you know, it's good for a while, and then it's like, okay, I'm ready to move on. So I think it's another D-tier song, but it's probably above Tear My Heart. Goner. Incredible emotion. Screams are just perfect. The way the song builds from a sorrowful piano ballad into, you know, the bridge where he's whispering, "Don't let me be gone," and then it just explodes into a desperate clash of raw emotion and the drums, and I don't know, it's just a fantastic closer. I don't really need to defend it. I think most people would agree. Probably gonna be B tier for me in terms of just how much I enjoy the song. But, you know, I will say for sure that the emotion, the impact, the rawness of the song is absolutely one of the best on Blurryface. Then we move on to the first singles, starting with Heathens. This is one that a lot of people kind of clown on, and for pretty good reason. Obviously made for the ever so tragic Suicide Squad soundtrack. But I don't know. I think it's got a strong atmosphere for the movie. You know, the way that it builds with the context of the movie, I think it works well. It's got a nice piano. It's a pretty catchy song. The energy is kind of underwhelming, to be fair, but I don't know. It's got a bit of a charm to it. I will point out the layered high-pitched vocals over every single word on the song is distracting. It is unnecessary. I don't like that they kind of did that production choice there. So yeah, I don't love it as much as I used to. I think I mentioned this last time, but I know the song from literally as soon as it released. I remember wanting to play it just on loop all the time. I remember going around my cousin's house. He's a year younger than me, and I would tell him, put Heathens on your Xbox, on YouTube. Put Heathens on. I want to listen to Heathens. And he just got sick of it, I think. So, but yeah, I mean, that's one of the first memories I really have with anything outside of listening to Blurface in my mum's car. So yeah, probably a C-tier song. You know, I still enjoy it for what it's worth. But yeah, Cancer. Again, this is made for another project, this time being Rock Sound's tribute album of the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance, and they asked 21 Pilots to cover the song Cancer, and that's why this song exists. I think it's a very touching take on the original song. The sadder, quieter sound, I personally believe suits the song better. You know, with the context of the song, it's a guy dying of cancer. The original song doesn't have as much raw emotion in it. So I like that the approach that they took with making this cover. I like that they took one of the verses and turned it into the chorus. The production is very solid. The piano is definitely a highlight. Tyler's emotion, I don't think it's amazing. I don't think it's like his best performance or anything. But there are strong points. I think it kind of lacks depth to it, and the bridge into the last chorus doesn't deliver enough of a punch to the gut as you'd want the song to. But that being said, I think it's another one that belongs in C tier next to Heathens. Alright, let's move on to the pinnacle, Trench. I mean, everybody loves this album. Most fans would say that this is their favourite album, and I am one of those fans. I think it's one of the best albums I've ever even heard. It's definitely in my top 3. And we're going to start with Jumpsuit. Widely agreed as one of their best songs. It's incredibly well written. It's so gritty. The kick-ass bass is fantastic. It's just really hype. It's got a gorgeous bridge as well. I love the screams in the last chorus. It's a super passionate song from everybody involved, including Paul Meany. Tyler's emotion is stellar. The instrumental is incredibly strong. It's a perfect opener to the album for sure. And I also wrote in the notes that Tyler is fine as hell in the music video. Can you blame me? Let's move on. Levitate. Absolute top-notch rapping for... Oh, I didn't even rank the song. Oops. Easy S tier. Levitate. Top-notch rapping for 2.5 minutes. Tyler's flow is great. The lyrics are vicious. The vulture calls that are implemented in the song are a really sick addition. Josh's drumming's clean as hell. The low-pitched layered vocals work really well. And I love the way that it transitions from Jumpsuit. You know, it kind of comes and goes, but it's a really strong track, and I think it's probably A tier. I'm at a point where I have to move them up gradually, because we're already getting to at that point where there's so many songs on the list. Morph, next up. This used to be my favourite 21 Pilots song for a while. I think ever since Trench released, for a few years, maybe until like 2022, I think this was my favourite song from 21 Pilots. It's such a gorgeous song. It's got really strong lyricism. It's an earworm of a song I wrote. The chorus is just super pretty, with the falsetto and the layered vocals. It sounds incredibly confident. The subtle nods to the lore is a cool detail for the dedicated fans. just a gorgeous instrumental, really held up by the phenomenal production. Paul Meany has done wonders for this whole album. So yeah, Morph goes above Jumpsuit in S tier. My Blood. Not long ago, I said this in the previous video, but not long ago I thought that this was one of the more underwhelming songs on Trench, structurally, lyrically, and production-wise. But I will say that after seeing it live, performed during the Clancy World Tour, I definitely have a newfound appreciation for the song. It just really connected to me in that moment, you know, being surrounded by fans that all love the same thing as you, seeing Tyler in front of you sing this song, it got to me, like, really personally. I was a bit of a mess during that song. But yeah, it's a song that is really easy to connect to. Once again, lovely falsetto. It doesn't need to do a whole lot instrumentally because the appeal is very much the emotional impact. I think the song's emotion is top-notch, one of the most emotional songs on the album, and the music video is devastating. I also wanted to point out. Chlorine. Again, I forgot to rank it. Probably B tier. Again, I don't love it probably as much as some of these other songs, but I definitely appreciate it a lot more than I would have if I'd made this video, say, a year ago. Chlorine. I really love the slick vibes of this song. The effects and the vocals throughout the song as well. Just, oh, that's so good. So good. The production once again shines. The piano that kicks in, the little diddle-da, is stellar. It really is, by all means, a really well-made song. That being said, I think that the writing doesn't appeal to me as much as some of these other songs. You know, there are other songs on the album that I definitely lean towards to listen to over Chlorine, but, you know, while I'm listening to the album, I definitely love the song. I think it's probably going to go in B tier next to My Blood, because, yeah, like I said, I think that I would prioritize other songs from Trench over Chlorine, just personal taste-wise, but I still think that it is a really, really well-made song. Smithereens. This is another song that suffers in terms of the writing for me personally. Yes, it's absolutely a lovely song for Jenna. It's easy to find myself singing along, for sure, and the production is, again, really, really well done. But personally, I just don't relate to the song. The instrumental doesn't have enough oomph to keep me fully engaged, and yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a song that wasn't made for me, and that's why I don't connect with it as much as I would have for other songs on Trench. It definitely doesn't overstay its welcome by any means, and I definitely wouldn't skip it if it came on. But yeah, I think another B tier song. Neon Gravestones is devastating. It's absolutely heart-wrenching. I absolutely glazed this song in the last video for good reason. It's got incredibly powerful lyrics. The chorus makes me tear up every single time. It's such a perfect song. It feels essential to the band. You know, for the fan base, for a fan base being young, vulnerable people who are probably going through it quite a bit during that time of their life, this song is really important. It's basically everything the band stands for, and it's just expressed in the most beautiful, touching way. The piano is wonderful, the emotion in Tyler's vocals, especially during the second verse and the bridge, perfect. Josh's drumming is also worth noting, as it complements the atmosphere of the song really well, and I literally don't have any complaints. I think after Morph, this probably turned into my favourite 21 Pilots song. The Hype. Hype's a very solid song. It's just like, it's the Hype. I love the vocals. It's another upbeat, heartfelt track with attractive production I wrote. I guess that works. It's a great vibe. I just don't really think it does a whole lot outside of sounding great sonically. Compared to other songs in this album, it doesn't really hold up as much. So yeah, I think it's going to be a C tier song. Nico and the Niners. is another show of fantastic production, almost carrying the song. Not quite, but you know, the production is fantastic. It's a really interesting conceptually song, and I really enjoy the performances from the boys. The flavorful production elements just absolutely take the song from being solid to a really cool listening experience. It's got the layered vocals, the pluggy guitar, the brooding synths, the reversed voice in the bridge as well is really cool. The rapping in the bridge is solid. The punchy drums from Josh are great. But yeah, the production is absolutely the standout aspect of the song. And I think I'm going to put it in A tier. Cut My Lip. Well, I know you want to talk about production. Well, here is the absolute peak of production class from Paul Meany. It's absolutely gorgeous atmosphere. I love how Tyler delivers the vocals in this song for sure. The production though is just absolute perfection. The bass guitar is very needed in this song. It's a very complementary instrument with this song. It's overall pretty repetitive. The Pride bridge is annoying to some people, and I kind of get it, but I don't mind it. Though again, I think that the song itself is a little bit lackluster. Again, comparing to other songs on the album, I think it sits next to The Hype in C tier. But it could definitely be B tier on a good day, I will say that much. Bandito. Bandito's maybe the most euphonic song that they've ever made. The piano and the synthesizers are just a fucking stellar combination. The climax of the bridge is something that I could listen to all day and just sink into the sound. Lyrically, it's nothing special unless you're a clicky, in which case it's a deeply personal track, of course. I think the atmosphere of the song is fantastic. I think the song deserves to be talked about more. It's just such a gorgeous song. A tier. Pet Cheetah. While it's a sick song with a kick-ass instrumental, I do think that, again, this is one of the weaker songs on Trench, and I don't think it's just because of me not clicking with the song as much as other songs. I think that this is honestly one of the only examples of where I can actually point out something I don't like in a song. It's just the breakdown of the song. Pet Cheetah, that part, I don't really enjoy that part. I think that it's a little bit silly, very underwhelming for me personally. And lyrically, there's not much to connect with either. I do like the "No, I move slow." I really like those parts. In fact, I love those parts, which is why I still think that this is a C tier song. But yeah, the breakdown makes it probably the weakest song on the album for me. Legend. I never really got why people said that this song didn't fit, because sonically and lyrically, I think it fits the album just fine. It's a really touching tribute to Tyler's grandfather. It's simple in nature, of course, but the execution is really, really well done to convey, all this emotion and make the listener feel empathetic for Tyler. And again, it's enhanced by the production being so good. I think that it sits in the album well. The placement and the track list. It's just a really lovely song, a really lovely tribute. B tier. Leave the City, the closer of Trench. Does it hold up as well as Goner or Truce or Isle of Flightless Birds? Yeah, I think it does. A very suitable slow build to a perfect follow-up track to Goner as a closer. It sounds so hopeless while also being something to hold on to in the dark. The marching band-esque drums give you the feeling that you're about to go into battle or something, which is, suiting for the context of the Banditos going into battle in the future. The moment the "For Now I Will Leave the City" part comes in with the soft vocals, you just know that it's something the fans will sing along to in harmony. It's such a gorgeous moment. I remember in the live shows, during the momentary break that they had, the fans would start singing For Now I Will Leave the City, and just hearing that in complete silence otherwise is just absolutely gorgeous. It's a really powerful moment. So I hope they keep doing it. The piano is touching, Tyler's emotion hits hard, the lyrics call to the fans directly. It's a very personal song for the fans, and I think it's a fantastic way to close the album. Do I put it in A or B? I guess it's another one on the fence for me, because I don't think it hits as hard as some other songs, but screw it, A tier. Level of Concern, the so-called COVID song. This song is really catchy. I noted that it's an important song for the time that it dropped, when everybody's kind of like unsure of what to do with themselves. They're scared about the future, and they're stuck in their home. For a lot of people, it was an incredibly horrible time. Me personally, I think that COVID was a great time for me, which sounds horrible to say, but it opened me up to so many new things. It made me discover my love for photography, for example, and now I am a full photographer, so I can give credit to the COVID time period for doing a lot of good to me, but obviously it was very bad in some ways as well. I lost some relatives to COVID, so I'm not saying that COVID was a good thing by any means, but yeah, me personally, I was in a fine headspace for Level of Concern, and then later on Scaled and Icy as well took place during the COVID era. But yeah, the song itself, very catchy. Feel good vibes. It's a very simple song, but at the same time it's not boring, which is something. It's a generally kind of overhated song in my opinion, but I kind of get why people don't really mess with the mainstream appeal of the song. So, C tier. Christmas Saves the Year. I have a question. Does anybody actually listen to the song? Like, ever? Even during Christmas? Because I don't. I have absolutely zero care for this song in the slightest, I'm sorry. It's got a nice sentiment and all, but it's such a bland song, I think. I just have no connection to any part of this song. So yeah, an easy skip. F tier. Sorry. Good Day. Alright, we're moving on to Scaled and Icy. We still got a few albums left, but we're getting through it pretty quickly, I'd say. Good Day. Immediately kicking off Scaled and Icy with this cheerful sound that would become the standout aspect of Scaled and Icy. But then you're hit with these lyrics that are super depressing, and that kind of sets the tone of the album. It's it's a very happy sounding album, but the lyrics are so down, as Tyler once said. It sets the tone of the album, Good Day, which is important, I guess. It's a very upbeat song with a pleasant instrumental, and it's got great vocals from Tyler. I will say the bridge isn't too interesting, but other than that, it's just a really nice vibe the whole way through. I'd probably put it in B tier, honestly. Choker. I really love the airy, hopeless sounding chorus that's amplified by Tyler's vocals. The production is particularly great on this song for the album. The bridge leading up to the last chorus is really pretty. The rap verse to close the song does feel a little bit out of place, similar to what song was it? Anathema, I think. But the verse itself is solid, so whatever. Again, the song structure and writing is probably where I don't really connect to the song. It's pretty easy for me to get kind of bored while listening to this song, and I definitely attribute that to just the writing being kind of lackluster. But sonically, it's definitely a solid song. So definitely high-end D tier, maybe low-end C tier. Shy Away. This was definitely another one of my favourite songs from 21 Pilots for a while. It's a really unexpectedly cheerful banger from 21 Pilots. You know, before Scaled and Icy, you would not believe that this is a song made by them. But in hindsight, yeah, it absolutely works. In the context of the album and just the way that they perform, I think that it sounds fantastic. It's very chirpy. I really dig Tyler's vocals and how that they're produced on the song. The energy is great. It doesn't go any harder than it needs to. You know, it doesn't become overwhelming or a little bit too energetic, I suppose. But it does get pretty raunchy near the end of the song. You know, Tyler does shout pretty loud at one point. I wouldn't say really screams, but it's getting there. And yeah, Tyler's deliveries throughout the whole song, especially in the background vocals, definitely fantastic. And Josh's drumming is one of the standout drum beats on the whole album. So, you know, that's also another very strong element to the song. I really don't have many complaints, to be honest. It's an S tier song. The Outside. This is a very funky track. It's really fun to sing along to just for the vibes of it. I love the rap bridge for how kind of unserious it is, like the Megalodon Megatron segment. Yeah, it's so silly, but I love it. And it's a really slick flow. Again, the confidence is like, I know what Tyler has said about Scaled and Icy, but it sounds really confident. So, you know, you can really like get into it. Again, the production is really cool in this song, even though it doesn't feel like a lot is happening. It's a pretty underrated song in my opinion. I think it's going to be B tier. Saturday. This song is, it's way too overrated. Overhated. This song is a bop, dude. Tyler in Backslide saying that he regrets making Saturday was like, what the fuck? How? Why? This song is so much fun. It's such good vibes, and even if there aren't any like great lyrics or anything in the song, and it's kind of one note, you could say, I still think this is a really fun song. I have so much fun every time I listen to it. The instrumental is really catchy, and it feels like a perfect song to carry you into the weekend with. So, honestly, A tier, for sure. Almost S tier, I could say. I love the song. Never Take It. I've never been a part of the whoo those. And again, it's a kind of repetitive one-note song for the band standards. It's kind of hard to connect to the lyrics. The bridge doesn't do anything for me. I definitely still enjoy the energy of the song. The guitar solo is solid, I like it. And Tyler does scream for a moment. But honestly, pretty easy skip. I think it's probably E tier. It's the least streamed song on the album for a reason. There's not really much that I can say I can pick out and say that this is really good. So, E tier seems fitting. Mulberry Street. That's another one of those songs that I think is improved by the live shows. Obviously, Tyler would go to the B stage on his piano, and he'd have the crowd light up their phones and do the Mulberry Street part. That is such a fun part of the live shows. I'm kind of gutted that they took it out of the Breach tour, but I kind of get it as well. You know, they had to fit in these other songs that are prioritized, so it's fine. But yeah, I would definitely miss it if I attended Breach tour. It's definitely a bop though. Again, the vibes are immaculate in the song. It's another track that you just want to dance to and smile to along the whole time. It's very catchy, very upbeat. The way the bridge progresses feels like it was made for the shows. The trumpet is really fun. Sure, it's not the most exciting sonically or lyrically again, but how could you not groove to this song? It's just, it's a catchy ass song. I think I'd probably put it in A tier, honestly. Maybe low end A tier, nearly B tier. But honestly, I think it just about deserves A tier. Formidable. I never cared for Formidable. It's pretty sonically. The lyrics are sweet, but I don't know. I get bored really easily. I'm listening to the album, Formidable comes on. I'm just like, I'm so out of it. I don't really care much at all. In terms of vocals, instrumentals, there's nothing really to keep me engaged. It's just a sappy love song. It's basic in nature, and Yeah, the only song on Clancy that I don't return to. Sorry, Formidable. Again, I don't think it's a bad song. It's in F tier because there's nothing about it that appeals to me, but I don't think it's a bad song. Make that clear. Bounce Man. Oh, Bounce Man, you are a funny one. The lyrics I'll mention first. They make sense in the context of the song, but it's just so silly, dude. For a 21 Pilots song, like, what was Tyler thinking? I definitely understand why people say the song is irritating or lackluster, and again, I don't know what Tyler was thinking behind the thought process of making this song, but I can definitely still groove to it. I wouldn't skip it if it came on, at least not every time, but I totally understand that it could have been left off the album. E tier. Above, never take it, but yeah, I don't think it's a very particularly strong song in their discography. No Chances. Atmosphere-wise, this song is absolutely awesome. It's such a switch up in vibe to throw us back into the like edema that Trench's sound portrays it as. It's a really menacing song. The underlying message and vocals of Runaway is really eerie. The song is basically a really cool threat, is how I described it. A really cool threat. Its production is great, the drums are snappy, the piano is really nice. Tyler's softer vocals are weirdly soothing, despite being in such a menacing sounding song. I think it's really cool. I think it's B tier. I'm noticing a pattern here, is that they're either great or they're really lackluster. There's no C tier songs so far. That reminds me of something later on in this, I'm sure we'll get into. Redecorate is the last song on Scaled and Icy, and probably the best, straight up. It's probably one of the band's best songs as well, in general. It's devastating, a devastating closer to what was previously a really cheerful sounding album. A really gorgeous instrumental with crushing lyrics, and a more somber delivery on the vocals really produces this exceptional song. Obviously very much about suicide. I don't have anything to criticize. I think that all around, fucking amazing song. It's going in S tier. Right. We have 2 more full-length albums, starting with Clancy. Of course, everything from now on is decently new. Clancy being released last year, so maybe a little bit of recency bias to come, but I think I'm pretty conclusive with most of my opinions from here on out. Overcompensate is first. This song has exceptional drumming. I'm just blown away by the instrumentation on this song every time. It's such a hype way to open the album, and the Clancy tour as well. The callbacks to Trench is cool. The tempo switch is really clean. The rap flows well and have well-written lyrics. The chorus is very catchy. The bridge is solid. Not my favorite, but it's absolutely a triumphant return from Scaled and Icy to basically say, don't worry guys, we still know how to kick ass. So, honestly, yeah, S tier. There's very little I can't really dig about Overcompensate. Next Semester. I can't say the same. It's a really decent punk rock track that gave us a feel of their new sound that breaks away from their typical style. It definitely grew off me pretty quickly, to be fair. I wrote Overtime, but yeah, no, it was pretty quickly grew off me. It's just, for me personally, a fairly underwhelming instrumental at times, matched with pretty basic vocal performances from Tyler for the most part. Again, I have to remember, I just wrote ooze in the background, and it's like, I have to think about how they actually sound. Oh yeah, ooh, those. They're a bit annoying. Obviously, I try and tune them out every time I listen to them, listen to the song. But I will say the whoa, whoa, whoas, oh, whoas, make up for it, because they are really pretty. The energy in the last chorus is fucking great. The transition to the softer ukulele segment to close off the song is a really pleasant writing choice, I will say. The sentiment is definitely there. The effort is definitely there. The performances are very solid, but I think the writing just lacks a bit for me. C tier. Backslide. Backslide, really slick beat. I really like Tyler's more laid-back vocal delivery throughout the song. A very chill song with a heavy meaning. It definitely grew on me a little bit, but you know, I'm still not super into the flow of the song, the overall structuring of the song. It's just kind of like fine. It's very fine. And also it disses Saturday, like I said, which is, you know, how dare you. I think it's going to be above Next Semester, but still a C tier song. But we're getting back into it now with Midwest Indigo. A very catchy, upbeat, light-hearted, perfect winter vibes kind of song. Probably the most Scaled and Icy sounding song from Clancy, and despite lacking any uniqueness or real oomph, it's a really fun song. It's hard to criticize it because it's also really hard to take it seriously because the general vibe of the song is just like really fun for some reason. Tyler doesn't miss on his deliveries. Like, I don't know, it's just like a passionate song, but it's also like kind of silly. B tier. Routines in the Night was an instant hit for me. The first time I listened to the album, I knew as soon as I heard it, you know, the first verse, I was like, this I really fuck with. As soon as the chorus is joined by Josh's drumming, the vibes are just immaculate. It's such a simple song in sound and structure, but it's probably really like the most effective up until this point of that sound that they have produced. It sounds so confident, it's so cool. The verses slay, the pre-choruses are really lovely as well. Tyler's shouty / floaty vocals in the background in the last choruses are really nice as well. Should have been a single, let's be honest, but I get why they chose not to release it as a single. The other songs definitely sound more appropriate as singles, but you know, if they released Routines as a single, it probably would have been just as big as Overcompensate. Maybe bigger. Vignette. I love the Verve vibes right off the bat, immediately followed by those crashes that flow into the first verse. It's such a satisfying way to start off the song. The production is really chirpy. We get the vultures making a comeback as well, which I love. Tyler's falsetto in the chorus is just unreasonably infectious. The rap verses are really smooth, the drum beat is very catchy. The lyrics are a lot of fun as well. The synth breakdown absolutely rocks. I didn't rank Routines, fuck. High-end A tier. Yeah, where was I? But yeah, the synth breakdown in Vignette. You know, the Kitty Tyler moment. It rocks. In concept, this song probably shouldn't work as well as it does, but the way that the whole team executes it in such a delightfully flavorful way just really makes it an absolute highlight on Clancy. I don't think I could put it in S tier personally, but absolutely high-end A tier next to Routines. In fact, probably Routines I still prefer over Vignette, but those are both fantastic songs that just barely miss out on S tier for me. I should clarify that I'm not putting them in order of how much I love them in the actual whole ranking, just like the album. So Levitate's my favorite of the A tiers. I think it's better than Aircatcher though. That's just how I'm doing. But yeah. The Craving, Jenna's version. So on the album, that version. The most tame Jenna song, literally just Tyler and his guitar pulling on your heartstrings by singing a very pretty song about the person he loves. It's a really nice song. It's got passionate vocals, but that's about it, to be honest. I don't think that in comparison to other tracks, it's a really great song, but for what it is, I definitely value its sentimental quality. I like what I said in the first version of the video that I made a few months back, where I said that it feels written specifically for Jenna and not for the fans. Not to be heard by the fans even. It feels like the most Jenna song that feels like Tyler would just sing it to Jenna, which is something that I really enjoy. It's gonna be a C tier song, but I still really appreciate what it does. And the Craving single version. Obviously, it's generally regarded as the weaker version, and there's a lot of reason why. A lot of the sentimental value is lost with the busier instrumental and the production. There's a lot more going on, and it sounds a lot more cliche as a result. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with the performances, but the song itself, in this style, is pretty bland. Which is weird because there's a lot more happening. It should be much more flavorful, but I much prefer the more acoustic, chill vibes in the album version. And honestly, I think that the single version is probably E tier. Yeah, I don't think it's one that I would return to even if it was on the album. Lavish is up next. I gotta say, Lavish haters have no soul. This song is stupidly fun. Like, come on. It's a mockery of the music industry in such a humorous and cocky manner that oozes with sass. It totally sounds like a Tyler song, where he just wants to be himself unapologetically, and as a result, we get a squeaky clean track that is clearly not meant to be taken too seriously, which is really funny to me. I love the lyricism, the vocal deliveries, the instrumental is fun. It's obviously nothing worthy of like S tier or anything, but like, come on. It's just a lot of fun. B tier. Navigating. This one's a tricky song for me because it's one of those songs where I have to be in a certain mood to really love. Sometimes I feel like the execution doesn't sound serious enough, but the overall tone of the song is kind of upbeat outside of the bass guitar and some of the punchy drums, but it's obviously not trying to be. So there's that aspect of, did it really achieve what it wanted to in its sound? You got the ayo, ayo, ayos. They're kind of goofy. The second verse I think is way too short. It's like just over in a click. I feel like it deserved to be a bit longer. But I will say the bridge is great. I really like Tyler's vocals for the most part. They convey a lot of emotion, but I just feel like it could have been fleshed out a little bit more. But that being said, B tier. Snapback. I'm not a lover or a hater of Snapback. I'm kind of in the middle. It's a very fine song all over. It's pretty catchy, the lyrics flow well, the lyrics are cohesive, the drumming is kind of interesting, but, the structuring of the song and the vocals and the production, it just doesn't wow me the same way that most other songs on the album do. I do like the lyric video, the music video, a lot though. That's just kind of all I have. So another C tier song. Oldie Station. This one is a super lovable song that is clearly dedicated to the fans that are still struggling. It's hopeful, it's encouraging and honest in a beautiful way. The lyrics, every time I hear the song, it gets me emotional. I mean, we're well over a year on from when the song released, and every single time, it still makes me emotional. I can't say that the song is amazing sonically, because, again, compared to a song like Neon Gravestones, which is kind of similar in vibes, it's much less exciting in that kind of way, or, appealing in its production and whatnot. And the chanty vocals in the chorus do feel a little bit awkward. But either way, I definitely really connect to the song, and I think it's a gorgeous song that is going to sit in A tier. At the Risk of Feeling Dumb. This is one that I personally connected with a lot when it first released, but gradually started to grow off me. I think that the sound... I'm going to skip this song. Never mind, it's over. The sound is just kind of unappealing to me, just because it's kind of repetitive. Tyler's vocals are really waily, and I don't really vibe with them very much in this song. Lyrically, this song, though, is very important, and there's a good reason it used to make me very emotional. It's just a shame that the writing doesn't match the impact of the lyrics. Still, I think the chorus is pretty great. I love the guitars and the production in the chorus, and Josh's drumming is perfectly solid. So Again, it's a really solid song. The writing is just a little bit on the weaker side of things, so it joins Navigating in B tier. And finally, in Clancy, we have Paladin Straight. Just ignoring the last part of the track for a bit, it's a fantastic song. I love Paladin Straight. It's such a passionate, dramatic, gorgeous song. The instrumentals are really fucking flawless. The vocals as well, are flawless. It's a song that I just totally adore. It's a great closer to with a sound that suits the rest of the album. Had to really force that out. The emotion and the atmosphere in the bridge and the climax is incredible. There's so much to love about the song. It's just such a gorgeous song. It feels so, freeing in a way. But yeah, the bird song gap is totally unneeded. Should have been left out of the studio track in my opinion. The ending as well, where Clancy, with his guitar, describes going up his ascent to the tower to confront Nico, followed by Nico saying, "So few, so proud, so emotional. Hello, Clancy." Goofy as hell, straight up. On first listen, it made me laugh because it was just like, what the fuck had just happened? But honestly, in hindsight, I kind of like that. It was a really huge moment in the story that probably confused a fuck ton of people that were not really into that side of the band, but I think it's fine now at this point. Later on in hindsight, I don't hate it. I don't think it's as goofy, but I definitely still think that it's a little bit maybe not the best choice to go with. But yeah, I don't like the break with the bird song. It really spoils the song, honestly. Well, it doesn't spoil the song, but when you're sat back listening to it, especially just in a typical playlist, it feels very much like, why is this here? This is so unnecessary. I guess in the context of the album, it's not as offensive, but yeah, it would be an S tier without all of that, but it's gonna be an A tier. So yeah, Clancy, my second favorite 21 Pilots album, for sure. Maybe some songs should be higher. Honestly, it looks like Vessel. Vessel's my third favorite album from 21 Pilots. I think I could lower a couple of these, maybe. Holding On to You, I'm gonna lower. Car Radio is definitely on the edge. Other than that, I think I'm going to keep them as is. Trench is obviously the best, no doubt about it. Clancy obviously also has a lot of songs up there in S to B tier, so I guess that fits. Right. On to the last singles. The Line is first. I think that it's got a great atmosphere that suits Arcane, the show that it was made for, very well. It's quite a slow burner for a while, but the climax is very solid. I definitely think the live version is way more epic in a way, where Tyler screams that last part, face. The way that he just screams that word is really fucking fantastic. Would be better if that was the way it was on the studio version, but I totally understand why that wasn't the approach that they took for the studio version. Yeah, the song in general is just one that I may really enjoy or not really care for, depending on what mood I'm in. So probably C tier. Doubts demo version. Yeah, the song blew up on TikTok, so they decided, hey, let's release the demo of Doubt. It kind of worked. It's got a lot of streams. It's got more streams than a handful of songs on Clancy, so I guess it kind of worked out for them, but at the same time, I don't know why they did it. It's essentially just the skeleton version of Doubt. Obviously, it's the demo version. It's weaker on most fronts to the final version. The instrumentals are a lot less interesting. The autotune is crass. The song structure feels much less natural. than the final version. I don't really know how people could prefer this to the fleshed out final version, because it's basically better in every way. So what was already a D tier song for me is then moved to E tier. I don't think it's F tier for sure. It's close though. I definitely don't return to the song. But yeah. Alright, let's move on to the last album, Breach. It has been just over 2 weeks since Breach released. It's currently Saturday the 27th of September, so, you know, it's not been that long since we've had Breach, but I think I've pretty much come to conclusive thoughts on what I think of every song, including Drag Path, the bonus song. Starting with City Walls. I think that this is an exceptional introduction to Breach, a very satisfying conclusion to the Blurryface story. The chorus is just absolute bliss. I got a lot to say about Breach songs, by the way. Tyler's vocals, stellar. The production from Paul Meany is captivating. The distorted saxophone chirps in the background, the one that everybody was like, what the hell is this instrument? Those are really fucking interesting as an addition. The flow of the song is great, the bridge is really pretty and devastating. The build up to the climax, calling back to Entertain My Faith, was a very super welcome, like, full cycle moment. I love the lyric in Holding On To You, as I probably mentioned earlier. The screams to close the song are super emotional. I just love the track. The way Heavy Dirty Soul briefly plays at the end of the song, to wrap around to the start of Blurryface, you know, it was the first music video in the Blurryface kind of saga. Again, to represent the cycle starting over. Really symbolic moment. I love it. I just love pretty much every part of the song. I think it's absolutely an S tier song. Raw Fear. I gotta say, the screams at the start of the song, they're still really goofy to me. I kind of just like snicker at them every time it happens. But the song itself is an absolute bop. It is Routine in the Night's older brother that is somehow even catchier and even more confident. I just really dig the vibe that they've adopted in this kind of way. And they go the extra mile with the bridge speeding up, with the never slowing down repeating in the background as it speeds up, which is fun, leading to an almost like anxiety-inducing moment where we just keep repeating the phrases of fear and frustration, with the as. I can't go that high, until we get snapped back into the chorus. It's a very satisfying transition. I think that it's just fantastic structuring, just great writing all around, a great vibe. Honestly, with Routines being right on the edge, I think that this probably is an S tier song for me. Drum Show. Drum Show is a kick-ass track with really potent drums and vocals, of course, Josh vocals, Tyler's screams, and the relatable lyricism for me. It all comes around to be like a really fun one. I can look past the fairly simple lyrics now. That was something that I kind of criticized when I first heard the song, is that the lyrics really didn't do much. But the fact that the song hits really hard helps kind of make me look over that. And I love that it's presented as a song written about Josh, that allows him to vocalize as well. This whole time, throughout the band's history, we've kind of been hearing from Tyler's perspective, but now we get a focus on Josh, which is like just a really sweet thing. So yeah. Do I put it in A or B? Again, it's on the fence for me. Probably A tier. I think it's going to be A tier. Garbage. I feel like garbage. This song is probably one that's grown the most for me from Breach. The general atmosphere and the writing is pretty poppy, and the yes, not really my thing. I don't really like those. Sorry, Tyler. I know that during the live shows he's like in love with that moment, but me personally, not into it. But yeah, I mean, Tyler's performances in the live shows, especially, I've been noticing Tyler absolutely loves this song. He cares so deeply for this track. You got the really deep lyrics, of course. The production is also great. The energy is overall really easy to connect with. despite the track sounding somewhat formulaic. So, you know, it's one that I personally can't super connect with just sonically, but I absolutely appreciate how much this song means to Tyler. So, yeah. I think, honestly, probably C tier, but again, you know, I love all of these other songs, so don't get me wrong. Definitely not as great as these other previous songs, but still a really solid song. The Contract. I think The Contract is pretty much on the same level as Drum Show for me. It's another catchy banger that is kind of experimental for the band, taking a slick electronic approach that surprisingly suits them quite well. The vocals are awesome, especially the yells in the pre-chorus, super cool. The production is fantastic here, really creating this almost menacing soundscape, and front to back, the song is such a vibe. And also the music video is incredible. I think it's probably my favorite music video from the band. So, A tier. Downstairs. Oh boy. Downstairs is a tragic one for me. I'm going to say that I adore the pre-chorus and the verses. Such a lovely sound, and the emotion is so raw. But the chorus is such a vibe killer. For me personally, it's basically an AJR chorus, and I don't know. It's just kind of bland. It's formulaic. It's unflattering. The autotune as well is also unflattering. The melody itself is bland. The pitch change later in the song doesn't help. It actually makes it worse for me personally. I really don't like the switch up. Which sucks, because the lyricism and the production should be enough to make me want to return to the song. But yeah, I don't know. I also don't really care for the bridge as well. I will say the oh mercy parts, I can't fucking sing at all. With the screams near the end of the song is sick, as well as the touching final segment of the song. And yeah, Josh's drumming is pretty great too. It's just, yeah, the chorus is... I don't like the chorus at all, straight up. I've tried to let it grow on me. Every other part of the song is so lovely, but the chorus, I don't like. I don't like that it sounds like AJR. And again, I don't dislike AJR. This is what I said in my reaction to the album. I don't think AJR is by any means bad, but they just have this, like, really, I want to say cringy aesthetic to them in their sound that I really can connect and connect with them to Downstairs' chorus, and it's got to be C tier. Robot Voices. Robot Voices is a goofy ass song, dude. It's got great vibes, it's catchy, it's upbeat, but it's so goofy. I just can't take it very seriously when it sounds like that. Tyler's vocals are kind of off-putting, and song structure is nothing interesting. The chorus is catchy and pleasant, but that doesn't really excuse the general lackluster writing of the song. I mean, I know that the song is basically a cover of another song made by a different band, so I can't blame Tyler for writing it this way, but, you know, he covered the song for the album, so I can criticize that. I want to like the song, I really want to like the song, but it is just kind of corny to me personally, so D tier. Center Mass. Honestly, probably one of the most charming songs of the year, sonically, that I've heard. It's so full of charisma. The clear nods to the fan base, you know, you got the Moi Death, and God, I really don't think you should take that at the start of the song, which is like, blew my mind. I love that they included that. It's a super catchy song, super flavorful production, devastating lyrics to top it off, you know. It's such a fun sounding song, but again, the lyrics, they're so down. The backing vocals also add a lot, and the screams as well. The screams go hard. The drumming is kick-ass, the emotion throughout the song is palpable. So I really can't criticize much about this song. I think it's an A tier song, very close to S tier. Above Drum Show and Contract for me. Alright, Cottonwood. I wrote in my notes, stop, I'm going to sob. First listen was interesting because on first listen I basically was just thinking, this is a really beautiful tribute to Tyler's grandfather. Aw, I mean, this is really sweet. But, you know, several listens later, it's just a devastating song. Lyrically, sonically, it really gets me emotional. Sorry, I got interrupted. We'll go back to where I was talking about the instrumentation, where the piano is fucking gorgeous on this track. The emotion that's built up by the song's atmosphere is just so good. It hits you like a truck, I wrote. I think it's a super underrated song from the fan base, from what I've seen so far, which is surprising to me. But I guess if you're not really paying attention to the lyrics and don't really care about what the song really means, I guess it could be somewhat underwhelming, but that's on you for being ignorant. Let's go back to the tier list. So yeah, honestly, the especially the part where what does it say? I've been catching my that part is what really gets me going every time. Gorgeous song, heartbreaking song. One Way. I was kind of worried that people wouldn't really vibe with One Way the same way that I do, but thankfully it seems like people have good taste. So yeah, I think it's an absolute bop. I adore the sassiness of the first verse. The chorus is groovy as fuck. It's amplified by Tyler's stunning vocals. He's just got a great voice, doesn't he? The second verse is a whole lot of fun. The bridge, super smooth. The final chorus is slight change in vocal delivery as well, is great. Also, you know, the way the song closes with Josh's like voice note into Days Like Dormant is humorous. You know, it doesn't feel really forced or anything. So yeah, hell yeah, why not? Another S tier song. It's kind of unreal just how many amazing songs are on Breach. Maybe a couple of them will grow off me, of course, but at the moment, I just love all of these songs. And now we get to Days Lie Dormant. I mean, you might have seen my reaction. I don't like Days Lie Dormant, to be honest. I still don't enjoy it very much. The thing is, I think it's a really good song. You know, it's catchy, it's charming, the production is a lot of fun, but it doesn't sound like a 21 Pilots song at all. Like, nothing about it sounds like what I would want from 21 Pilots song, and that's really off-putting. It's just the vibe doesn't suit the boys well, in my opinion. Even with Tyler's vocals and, you know, Josh's signature drumming, again, I can just compare it to, like, say, AJR and, you know, the atmosphere, the song structure, the vocal melodies, the build up to the last chorus, it all just sounds like AJR or any other band that's doing this kind of sound. And, you know, if anyone else made this song, I'd probably fuck with it quite a bit. But this just being on Breach sounds wrong, you know. I just can't enjoy it. E tier. It's insane that a new song is going to E tier from an album, but is what it is. Tally. Luckily, we get right back into probably my favorite song of the decade so far. So, a bit of whiplash. I'm absolutely obsessed with Tally. I think it's absolutely incredible in every single aspect. I don't even need to go into detail. I mean, just straight up, I love every detail about this song. Every tiny, minute detail is fantastic. But if I were to go into detail, it would be especially Tyler's vocals being so passionate, the confidence in the verses, the production is fucking insane, and the lyrics are perfectly heartbreaking. I swear to God, I cannot find any issue with this song. It's incredibly catchy. It's just incredibly gorgeous sounding. Tyler just blows my mind every time in the song. Why do I have a Car Torture Death? Where did I have this? I think I had an E tier. Oh god. Maybe I... oops. Tally is S tier. Tally is absolutely S tier. And then we have, lastly, from Breach, is Intentions. This is a really hard one to judge for me because obviously it's just truce reversed, with a new meaning in the lyrics, explicitly saying, you know, we will fail, we will face challenges, time and time again, but we will try again. You have to try again. Your intentions are what will set you free. Just try to be. You know, it's a gorgeous message, and in a way, it's kind of confusing as well. A very confusing way to conclude the decade-long era from the Blurryface kind of story. But at the same time, it's a fitting way to close it all. You know, by using an old song, a closer, in such a way, it feels even more personal, especially to longtime fans. I was obviously hoping for something more impactful, but choosing this direction was fine by me. Probably C tier, like very much right in the middle, just of the whole discography probably. And yeah, in line with Truce. Last but not least, Dragpath. A lot of people have said that this song would have been an equally suitable closer to the album and subsequently the entire era. And yeah, I totally agree with that. It sounds gorgeous. It's an emotional experience for sure. There's a lot to take in. You have Tyler's soft, precious vocals, which are wonderful. The atmosphere just absolutely screams, this is the finale. This is how we want to close it off. Which just makes it even more confusing that they stuck this behind a paywall, basically. I still don't get why they made that decision, but whatever. So, yeah, I've only been able to listen to it a couple times for that reason. But, I mean, every time I have listened to it, I've just been wowed. I don't think it's S tier worthy, but I think it's a great song. A tier. Maybe B tier. Again, like, I don't think I've had enough time to really take in this song. But we'll put it in A tier. And that is 21 Pilots' whole discography, plus Regional at Best, that is present on Spotify. Alright, so let's go over the S tier songs. We have Migraine, Heavy Dirty Soul, Neon Gravestones, Morph, Jumpsuit, Redecorate, Shy Away, Overcompensate, Tally, City Walls, and Raw Fear. It's interesting that Breach has 3 songs in S tier and 5 songs in A tier, whereas Clancy has 1 song in S tier and 4 songs in A tier, but I like Clancy more as an album because of these handful of songs that I don't particularly care for as much, whereas Clancy is, it's quite a bit more consistent, I would say. You know, you got a lot of songs in B tier and none below C tier. You know, single versions obviously not on the album, so I think that's why I really connect with Clancy more than Breach at the moment. But that being said, the highlights of Breach are absolutely stellar. So yeah, I think they did a great job with this new one. I'm thinking about moving a couple of them below to really to make sense with how I think of the albums overall. Yeah, sorry Drum Show, sorry Contract. I think these two are pretty much side by side, but I just love these like a little bit more. So yeah, I'm gonna move those to B tier. And this is the final ranking of every song. Yeah, I think this is a much more cohesive, suitable list of what I think about all of these songs. I hope that you kind of agree with a lot of my takes. Obviously, you're not going to agree with all of it, because that's how personal taste works. Opinions are subjective and whatnot, so obviously let me know what you think of my ranking. Maybe you hate it, maybe you think it's perfect, and let me know your thoughts on what you think of, I guess, all of these songs as well. Maybe not all of them. Maybe not all of them. Let me know your favorite songs, I guess. Let me know how you compare to my favorite and least favorite songs. And yeah, I think that is pretty much all I need to say. Obviously, you know, I can talk about how 21 Pilots is presumably going to go on a bit of a hiatus after this, We're not going to expect another album for at least a few more years, which is, you know, quite devastating, and maybe not even any live shows after the festivals next year, which sucks a lot. But I mean, you can't blame them. Josh has a baby coming on the way. Tyler obviously has 3 children that he needs to take care of. So, you know, all props to them for prioritizing their family. You know, I do the same. So, you know, if they need to take a few years off, then good for them. They should absolutely do that. But hopefully it won't be too long before we are back to listen to some new music by the band, by the boys. And yeah, so I don't think I have anything else to say. Thank you for watching. Again, I hope you enjoyed this ranking video. Obviously, go and watch my reactions to Breach and the singles. Actually, no, the singles are blocked. Go watch my reaction to Breach. That is on my channel. And yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.